So you have all sorts of different kinds of blockchains, niche blockchains like social media, data storage, just ones that are fast for transactions, all these different kind of blockchains that will all work together in a interoperable ecosystem. And I really think that that's the future. So we're going to look at a layer 1 blockchain that is really working towards this future. What's going on, guys? Astro with Hidden Profits Crypto. Today we're going to be taking a look at a layer 1 modular blockchain called Celestia. Now, Celestia is a very interesting project. It's much different from anything that we've looked at here on the channel, and it also is a consensus mechanism that we normally don't look at. So I really think this project has a ton of potential, and it's currently only in the test net. So there's a lot of time to do a lot of research and understand how the project works before the mainnet launches in early next year. So anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at Celestia. So one of the first things we're going to take a look at is the team. As for any project, the team is one of the most important aspects. If the people that are in the team are not qualified and don't have experience, then they're not going to be able to achieve the goal that they're actually going after, which means you shouldn't invest your money in it. We're going to skip the CEO for now because I want to take a little bit of a deeper look into his background. So the CTO was a former senior engineer at Tendermint. We have the CRO, who's actually the creator of Optimistic Rollups, and then we have the COO, who's actually the co-founder of Harmony. Now, many of you probably have heard of Harmony. It's a layer 2 on top of Ethereum. Now, Optimistic Rollups are also a kind of layer 2 solution for Ethereum, so you can kind of see a trend here. So now if we take a look at the CEO, Mustafa Al-Bassam, if you just do a simple YouTube search of his name, you will get flooded with a ton of videos from TED Talks to Tech Talks to Scaling Blockchain Talks to even a Lad Bible video where they talk about him hacking the US government at 16 and being involved with Anonymous. Now, I know that sounds pretty interesting, but when you really watch the video and get an understanding of the kind of person he is, you can see he really believes in the idea of putting the information in the hands of the people, hence why he's involved in blockchain. Now, he also has a PhD at UCL for scaling blockchain, an entire thesis that he wrote on scaling blockchain. If you guys are interested in checking that out, I'll remember to put a link down in the description. You guys can give that a read. So he was also co-founder of one of the first smart contract platforms, and that was called Chainspace, and that eventually was acquired by Facebook. Now, obviously, you can see just simply by this guy's background, it gives you quite a bit of confidence in this project that he has the knowledge and ability to do these things, as well as all the other teammates having some sort of experience in layer 2s. You'll understand where that comes into play when we go ahead and take a dive into the tech, which is what we're going to do right now. Now, as I said, Celestia is a different consensus mechanism than what we normally look at on the channel. Now, if you're a normal viewer of the channel, you know I love proof of work, and I really do think proof of work is the superior consensus mechanism, but I've kind of started to open my mind on the idea of diversifying on layer 1s that aren't just simply proof of work. I do think proof of stake, if done correctly and in a decentralized manner, can actually be worth trying. So I definitely think that this blockchain being proof of stake is a good example of that. Now, we'll get into the reasons on why I think it's more decentralized on the proof of stake side a little bit later on into the video. Now, Celestia is the first modular blockchain, and what that means is most blockchains use a traditional kind of structure where you have the data availability, consensus, and the execution all in one layer. And then on top of that, you can have smart contracts and all the other stuff that's built. But with a modular blockchain, the consensus and data availability layer are separate from the execution layer. The execution layer is where you would have your rollups and layer 2s and all those kind of solutions. But this is where you can build your own kind of blockchains, and you have an entire blockchain ecosystem built on top of Celestia. Now, as I said before, the CEO has a PhD in blockchain scaling. So their way of going about scaling is a little bit different than most other projects. There's pretty much two ways to go about scaling, and that is either sharding or just increasing the block size. So most projects just shard, which is splitting the blockchain up pretty much into branches that run in parallel. But here, we're just increasing the block size. Now, with most projects, increasing the block size isn't really an option, because while increasing this block size, you're also increasing the resource requirements for the nodes and miners, because they have to be able to download all the data from those blocks. So if it takes too long for them to download the data because the blocks are too big, it can lead to things like stale blocks and forks and all sorts of issues. So Celestia actually solves this by using something called data availability proofs. And what this does is, instead of having the nodes download the entire block, they only have to sample the block and a small portion of it to have proof that the data is actually available in the block. So the nodes will actually sample this block until the entire block has been sampled. And one of the interesting things about this is that by increasing the block size, the sample size of the block doesn't actually increase. This means that instead of needing more resources to actually be able to download the block, instead you just need more nodes to be able to sample the larger block. So this really means that they're achieving true scalability in the terms of, as the network grows bigger with more nodes, that means that the block size can continue to grow, which means that more transactions and data can get added into those blocks, which means that the transactions per second can continue to increase. But because the sampling size doesn't increase, this means the cost isn't actually increasing. I think this is a really interesting way to go about it, and I think the CEO's background is really what allows them to achieve being able to do this and taking a different route than a lot of projects when it comes to looking at scalability. So early in the video, I did say I would explain why I think decentralization in the terms of proof of stake on this project is a little bit different from a lot of others. And that's really mainly because the idea of these validators that are going to be constantly coming online, because it's so dependent on the scalability of the project. Where if you look at something like ETH, you have to have 32 ETH, which right off the bat is a lot of money. So you're really putting the ability to run a validator in only the hands of the people who have the most money, or the whales, which is really an issue for me. In this case, I don't know what the staking cost is going to be to run a validator, but since it's so reliant on the scalability of the network, because they need as many nodes as possible to be always coming online, so that way the block size can continue to increase, I really just imagine that this is going to be way more decentralized than really any other proof of stake project. Now, another thing with Celestia is that it is EVM compatible in the terms of using a Cosmos thing called EVMOS. It basically allows for Ethereum smart contracts and layer 2s to be able to be compatible with Celestia. So this means that the large ecosystem of Solidity Ethereum developers will be able to deploy their layer 2s and rollups right on top of Celestia, which I really do think is great in terms of market for having more people want to move over and build on top of Celestia. I'm not really sure on the developer side for Ethereum how happy or not happy people are with ETH2, but I do think that this development environment will be very interesting to developers. So, it'll be very interesting to see how some of those ETH developers move over. So I wanted to give you guys an example of a project that could be built on top of Celestia, and here's one right here called Fuel Network, and this is the world's fastest modular execution layer. And you can see here they talk about how blockchains are moving away from a monolithic design where consensus, data availability, and execution are tightly coupled. The future is modular, where execution is separated from the two layers that we were talking about. This separation allows for specialization at the base layer, delivering a significant increase in bandwidth capacity. And then at Fuel, they're building the fastest execution layer for modular blockchain stack. They also use, ETH2 and Celestia as a example here for this. So you can also see, with Fuel, they have like a virtual machine, their own language and all sorts of stuff. And then they have a similar example here that we showed in the video. So I just wanted to quickly give you guys a little bit of an example of something that could be built on top of Celestia. And I really think that these kind of blockchains, they're really going to focus on speed and kind of focusing on whatever it is that they want to do. And they're going to be able to do it the best that they possibly can and very fast on top of Celestia. Now, as I said before, Celestia is currently only in its testnet, and this is just a regular testnet. This isn't even an incentivized testnet, and they're saying that that's going to come about Q1 of 2023. So, if you guys want to get involved with maybe running a node and getting involved with the incentivized testnet, make sure to keep a lookout for that. But mainnet will come sometime next year, at least that's what they're planning. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. As of right now, there is no Celestia token or any anything that you can buy right now to get involved with this. So if you see something that say, oh, it's not real, it's a scam. So make sure you guys are very careful with that. In the Discord, they make sure to talk about that because it must be an issue. So I'm going to definitely be keeping an eye on this project as it moves through its test net into its main net, and I'm probably be making some more videos updating it as we go. So if you guys want to see more of those, make sure to leave a comment down below and let me know. Also leave a comment of any other blockchains that really focus on interoperability that interest you guys, like this or Cosmos, because I really do think the crypto space is going to start moving towards that and kind of move away from this idea of small little enclosed ecosystems. So if you guys enjoyed this video and you like to see other content similar to it, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tick the notification bell. If you want to follow me even more in depth, you can follow me at hidden_crypto on Twitter. All my other social links will be in the Linktree link down in the description. But that's going to be it for me here today. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time. And until then, peace.